Disclaimer: Tyson retires here.
Imagine walking into retirement with what you believe is enough money, only to discover 10 years later that your savings are running out. Now imagine the opposite, spending decades worrying that you'll never have enough to retire, when in reality you may already be much closer than you think. So, how much money do you actually need to retire comfortably in America? $1 million? $2 million? $3 million? The truth is, there is no single number that guarantees a comfortable retirement. And believing there is can become one of the biggest financial mistakes you'll ever make. By the end of this video, you'll understand the key factors that determine how much retirement savings you may actually need. And make sure you stay until the end, because the final factor is often the one people overlook the most. Yet it can have one of the biggest impacts on your retirement. Let's begin.
There is no magic retirement number.
One of the biggest myths in retirement planning is the idea that everyone needs exactly the same amount of money.
You've probably heard people say, you need $1 million.
Others say,
No, you need $2 million.
the reality is much more personal.
A retiree living in a low-cost area with modest expenses may need significantly less than someone living in a high-cost city with a much more expensive lifestyle. Retirement planning isn't about chasing someone else's number. It's about understanding your own financial needs. That's why professional retirement planning usually starts with one question. How much money do you actually spend every year? Not, how much money do you want to have?
That simple shift in thinking changes everything.
But annual spending is only one piece of the puzzle. There's another number that's even more important.
Your annual expenses matter more than your savings balance. Many people focus entirely on the size of their retirement account.
But experienced retirement planners often focus somewhere else: your annual expenses. Imagine two retirees, both have $1 million saved. The first retiree spends around $40,000 each year. The second spends nearly $100,000 annually.
Even though they have exactly the same savings, their retirement outlook is completely different.
The lesson is simple. The less money you need each year, the longer your retirement savings may last. That's why many successful retirees spend years reducing unnecessary expenses before they retire.
Not because they have to, but because controlling spending often provides more financial flexibility.
And here's something many people don't realize. Retirement isn't just about replacing your paycheck. It's about replacing the lifestyle your paycheck supported. But there's one planning guideline that's mentioned almost every time retirement is discussed, and many people misunderstand how it works. Understanding the 4% rule.
If you've researched retirement planning before,
You've probably heard of something called the 4% rule. It's one of the most widely discussed retirement planning guidelines. The basic idea is simple. Some financial planners have used the 4% rule as a general starting point when estimating how much income retirement savings might provide over time.
but it's important to understand something.
The 4% rule is a guideline, not a guarantee. It isn't designed to predict exactly how every retirement will unfold. Investment returns change.
Inflation changes.
Healthcare costs change. Tax laws may change. And everyone's retirement is different.
That's why many financial professionals recommend reviewing your retirement plan regularly, rather than relying on a single formula for decades.
Think of the 4% rule as a starting point for discussion, not the final answer. Because the next topic has become one of the fastest growing retirement expenses in America, and many people underestimate it. Healthcare may be your biggest retirement expense.
When people imagine retirement,
They usually think about travel, relaxation, and spending more time with family.
but many retirees are surprised by something they didn't fully prepare for.
Healthcare costs. As we grow older, medical expenses often become a larger part of the household budget. Even if you qualify for Medicare, there may still be premiums, deductibles, co-payments, prescription drug costs, dental care, vision care, or services that aren't fully covered.
That's why many retirement experts encourage people to include healthcare expenses in their retirement plan. Not as an afterthought, but as a priority.
The question isn't whether you'll need health care. The question is whether you've planned for it. And that brings us to another major source of retirement income. Social Security is only one piece of the puzzle.
For millions of Americans.
Social Security plays an important role during retirement.
But for most people, it wasn't designed to replace their entire working income.
Instead, it was created to provide a foundation of retirement income. That's why many retirees combine Social Security with personal savings, pensions, retirement accounts, or other sources of income.
Another important point.
The age at which you claim Social Security benefits can affect the size of your monthly benefit. Claiming earlier may reduce your monthly payment. Waiting longer, up to certain limits established by law, may increase it. Every person's situation is different. That's why understanding your options before making a decision can be extremely valuable. But even if you have savings and Social Security,
There's still one silent threat that can reduce your purchasing power every year.
inflation quietly reduces your buying power,
Imagine retiring today.
with what feels like enough money to last the rest of your life. Now imagine prices slowly rising year after year. Groceries become more expensive.
Insurance premiums increase.
Utility bills rise. Healthcare costs continue climbing.
Your retirement savings may stay the same,
But what your money can actually buy gradually becomes smaller. That's inflation. And while it doesn't happen overnight, its long-term impact can be significant. That's why many retirement strategies consider both current expenses and future increases in the cost of living. Planning only for today's prices may not be enough.
You also have to think about tomorrow.
But inflation isn't the only financial surprise retirees face. There's another expense that many people forget until retirement finally arrives. Don't forget about taxes.
One common retirement myth is that taxes completely disappear after retirement. For many people,
That's simply not true.
depending on your income sources, you may still owe federal income taxes on certain retirement income. Withdrawals from some retirement accounts may be taxable. Some Social Security benefits may also be taxable, depending on your overall income. And tax rules can change over time. The good news? Planning ahead may help you better understand how taxes could affect your retirement income. That's why many retirees review their tax situation every year, instead of assuming it will always stay the same. Because keeping more of your retirement income isn't just about earning more.
It's also about understanding how your income is taxed. Build an emergency fund, even in retirement.
Many people believe emergency savings are only important during their working years. But retirement doesn't eliminate unexpected expenses. In fact, unexpected costs can become even more challenging after you stop receiving a regular paycheck. A major home repair, a vehicle breakdown, unexpected medical expenses, or helping a family member during a difficult time. Life rarely follows a perfect plan. That's why many financial professionals recommend keeping an emergency fund that is separate from your long-term investments. Having accessible cash for unexpected expenses may help you avoid selling investments during a market downturn, because the last thing you want is to make an emotional financial decision during an emergency. But having emergency savings is only part of the picture.
The next lesson may provide even greater financial security.
Don't rely on just one source of retirement income. Imagine sitting on a chair with only one leg. It simply wouldn't be stable. Retirement income works the same way. Many financially secure retirees receive income from multiple sources. For example, Social Security, retirement savings, pensions if available, investment income, part-time work, rental income, or other personal assets. Not everyone will have every income source, and that's perfectly okay. The goal isn't to have the most sources. The goal is reducing dependence on only one. Because financial flexibility often creates greater peace of mind, and peace of mind may be one of the greatest gifts retirement can offer. But there's one final lesson, one that no retirement calculator, no investment account, and no financial formula can ever replace.
Create a retirement plan that fits your life, not someone else's. One of the biggest mistakes people make is comparing their retirement to someone else's. Your neighbor may retire at 62. Your friend may continue working until 70. Someone else may travel the world. Another person may enjoy gardening at home. Neither approach is automatically better. Retirement isn't a competition, it's a personal journey. The question isn't, how much money does someone else have? The better question is, what kind of life do I want to live? Once you answer that, your financial plan becomes much clearer. Because retirement planning isn't really about money. Money is simply the tool. The real goal is creating a life that gives you freedom, security, and peace of mind. And that's a number no calculator can measure.
Final summary. Let's quickly review today's lessons. There is no magic retirement number. Your spending matters more than your savings balance. The 4% rule is a guideline, not a guarantee. Plan for healthcare costs. Understand the role of Social Security. Don't ignore inflation. Plan for taxes. Maintain an emergency fund. Build multiple income sources whenever possible. Most importantly, create a retirement plan based on your own goals, not someone else's expectations. Remember, a successful retirement isn't defined by becoming a millionaire. It's defined by having enough resources to support the life you truly want. And sometimes, financial confidence comes not from having more, but from planning better.